Now today we're going to turn our focus towards another type of legal structure within the private sector called franchises. And if I'm being honest with you, I think this is one of my favorite structures because it allows a business the ability to grow quickly and rapidly without putting down too much of its own money, without needing a lot of their own investment, their own capital. A business can grow tenfold very quickly if they're using a franchise model. And when you look at a franchise model, there will be two businesses that will be part of this structure. The two businesses will be called franchisor and franchisee. Okay, now the best way to understand or remember these is treat the franchisor as the selling business. I'll come to what they're selling in a minute. Franchisees are the businesses that are looking to buy what the selling business is selling. So there are two parties, one is selling, one is buying, and what the franchisor is looking to get out of this business is some return from all the money, the time and effort that they would have spent in their business. Now, I'll take you through this example through a very famous brand. All of you would be happy to hear this one called McDonald's, right? Everybody loves Ronald, and McDonald's is a worldwide business, a multinational business. Everyone's aware of them. And what McDonald's works on is a franchising model. Okay? What McDonald's does is it sells the rights to use its name, its logo, its brand, its layout, everything that McDonald's has worked hard towards in making it into the brand that it is today. They basically have a successful business on their hands. And a lot of other new businesses that don't want to go through the trouble of coming up with a new menu, coming up with a new layout of the store, coming up with different processes of making the same food, they can apply to McDonald's and ask them to share their expertise, their knowledge, all their research that they have done. They could literally pay to buy the rights to use everything that McDonald's uses and does to sell its product. So the franchisor in this case would be McDonald's, and the franchisee, if we take the example of, for example, Pakistan, there's a group here called Lexin Group that has the rights of McDonald's to sell it in Pakistan. So what the franchisor gives to the franchisee is rights. And those rights, as I said, could be in the form of using their logo, for example, using their brand in their advertising, using the way they lay out their retail store. So all different ways through which McDonald's is helping a new business to set up without having them to go through all the trouble of coming up with a new business idea from scratch. Now, in return, of course, none of this will be done for free. And what the franchisor, McDonald's, gets in return is money. And that money will come in two forms. Firstly, they will have to pay an initial fee, just to say, that establishes the relationship, and that initial fee will be quite large because you think about it, McDonald's, which has been in operation for decades now, they have spent so much time, effort, money into making the brand that it is today. They're not just going to give the rights to anyone else to use it for cheap. So most franchise models will have a very high initial fee. And on top of that, every time a burger is sold, let's say a burger is sold for $1, the original company, McDonald's, will get a small portion of that sale. So let's say 10 cents out of the dollar would be given to McDonald's, the parent company, the selling company, in the form of royalties. So the franchisor, McDonald's in this case, sets to benefit in two ways. First, the initial fee, which is quite a hefty amount. And secondly, every time a product is sold, it's sort of like a thank you for letting us use your rights. And in return, the franchisee has to pay a portion of the sales called royalty. So if you look at this structure, really it's a win-win for both companies. For the franchisor, it's a way to expand quickly without having to put down any money. What the franchisor needs is a solid product, something that they know people like, people want, and if anybody else wants to use our product, hey, you just have to pay for it. So what they get in return is money, lots of money, and that's good for more expansion further on. So franchising hand in hand goes well with businesses who are looking to expand quickly on the franchisor end, and on the franchisee end, it's for those businesses who don't want to do everything from scratch, who don't want to have the money to spend on market research, but they want to still take the name of an established brand because it guarantees them success. If I started my business by Java Burger, I'm sure you guys won't be encouraged to buy it as much as if the same place had McDonald's written on it. So the bigger name brings in more people. It's more attractive for the consumers. Okay, so let's look at some of the advantages and disadvantages of this structure in a little more detail. Now we're looking at these advantages and disadvantages from the perspective of a franchisee, the buying business, not McDonald's, but the company that would buy the right to sell McDonald's in their country. And the biggest advantage you have of bringing in a company like McDonald's or even Subway, for example. Subway is another great example where they have one of the largest networks of branches all over the world through a franchising model. And whenever somebody buys the rights to Subway, they know that they are buying an established brand. And what an established brand guarantees is fewer chances of failure. Of course, then if you mess it up, then it's probably the way you were running the business and not the way Subway runs its business. So you have some comfort in the fact that the business that you're investing in, yes, it may require a huge initial fee to be paid, but for that fee, you're getting an established brand with fewer chances of failure. At the same time, of course, even Subway and McDonald's would want to make sure that any branch you go to, you get the same service, same food, same everything, the same comfort, the same familiarity every time. And for that purpose, these franchisors will also provide the franchisee business with advice in training and equipment and any problem solving and the customer end they might need in order to do the job the same way that the original franchisor was doing. So all of that will be provided. Of course, it's in the interest of the franchisor to do so because that guarantees uniformity across all branches regardless of who owns that branch. Also, especially in the case of Subway, if you go in next time, you will see that whichever branch you go to, they get their same dough for the bread delivered, the same vegetables in every branch, the same meat. Every piece of supply is delivered by Subway, the company. So sometimes you don't even have to worry about who to buy the meat from or how do you get your vegetables fresh because it's the franchisor that takes the responsibility of delivering it to your locations. Additionally, they will also guarantee that we will make sure that there's not much competition from the same brand in your local area. So what that means is that there won't be two branches located too close to one another. Of course, they want one branch to cater to one local area, another for another, so that they're not eating off of each other's potential customers. So that planning is also provided by the franchisor. The disadvantage, of course, from the franchisee perspective is that firstly, this huge initial fee has to be paid. On top of that, with every item that you sell, so let's say I own McDonald's Pakistan, and if I sell a Big Mac, if it goes for 400 rupees, a portion of that 400 will have to be paid to McDonald's, the franchisor. They want to be paid for every product that you sell, which technically is called a royalty. So you continue paying till the day you use their product, basically what that means. Also, in the case of Subway, if let's say the meat is not right, if it's gone bad, maybe you don't like the quality, or maybe the supplies were late, no franchisee can go to the market and get any other product. They have to wait for the supplier which was appointed by the franchisor to provide them with those supplies. So in a way, you're tied to the same supplier. If they decide to increase the price, there's nothing you can do about it because your contract says you will have to buy from the same supplier the franchisor appoints. So in a way, that's a bit restrictive, and you can't just set your own prices. You can't change the layout of the store. All over the world, all the McCafes will look exactly the same. The Subway stores will look exactly the same because the parent company, the franchisor, has to make sure that there is uniformity across all branches. And that's where, again, it's a little bit restrictive and you can't really diversify in your store. You stick with the franchisor. So very common examples all over the world. It's especially successful model when it comes to food. And you heard products like Subway, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, KFC. They've all been able to multiply through the franchising model.